positive nights trading, European and US markets roared higher again, with most major indices across the continents of Europe and America up by more than 1.5%. And the gains were very based, although financials and tech stocks featured. Most sectors finished in the green, and there was plenty of support across the board, with good volumes exchanging hands as well, in real indications of a return of confidence to share markets. And it took most of them once again close to or at their all-time highs in trading overnight. So a very buoyant environment in overnight trading. Now, there were some concerns. The buoyancy appeared to be based on some comments from the White House that the China trade deal, or a China trade deal, would be put in place later in the week. And there was also further commentary that the government shutdown, which hit its 20th day overnight, will soon be eased. And that was enough to spark the optimism that saw investors roaring back into the share markets. Now, at the same time, we did see a rally in gold prices, a quick 100-point gain for the spot price of gold. And we did see a bond rally with the US 10-year dropping below 4% for the second time in a week. And that sort of buying does suggest there is some concern out there that we might be looking at some weakness. That support for the safe havens and for those stocks for those securities that benefit from a lower interest rate environment suggests the confidence might be based on a contradiction, that is better growth and lower interest rates, which of course is mutually contradictory. But that didn't seem to matter last night. The trade standoff easing would be a real positive. We saw data out of China yesterday, which was no disaster, but was a little softer on balance than was expected. And I think that might have also led to speculation about potential support for markets. And in Australian news overnight, the Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, met with the US President. This is their first official face-to-face meeting, although they have spoken before, but it was seen as a very good sign for relations between the two nations. And after the talks, it was announced that the two nations had agreed on a rare earths accord, an $8.5 billion commitment for Australia to supply and process rare earth minerals to the US, with each nation promising to invest $1 billion immediately. Seen as a good deal and potential for further gains in that space. But Bitcoin has gone a little under the radar, despite the fact the volatility in cryptocurrencies generally, and Bitcoin in particular, has been spectacular. It's had a 2-week slide over that period, although it has rallied a number of times, and it's down about 11.5% from that peak above 126,000 US dollars a coin. Currently around the 110,000 mark. Number of analysts looking for a test of those support levels just above $100,000. Now, that's a very important level. We've seen bounces off that level many times since it initially cracked. If that level holds, we could see further rallies and perhaps even a test of the all-time highs. But of course, the risk here is that it drops through that floor. And we are hearing reports of ETF outflows, over $1.2 billion withdrawn from Bitcoin ETFs over the last week. That's the second biggest drawdown on ETFs ever. So some are arguing this is a short-term correction and there's still plenty of optimism around Bitcoin, but for a bounce to occur, that ETF flow must reverse, and there is some hope that a rate cut, a surprise interest rate cut, might also support the cryptocurrency structure. Turning to our watch list today, top of the list, Strategy, the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. It's currently holding 640,000 coins. It's down 30% in 3 months as concerns about the outlook for Bitcoin arose and the leveraged nature of Strategy's investment in Bitcoin. A number of analysts still have a strong buy on the stock, but at the moment it's sitting just under the $300 a share level. There, technically at least, is a view that it could drop to $250 before finding substantial support. So one thing that seems very likely is that Strategy will continue to be a volatile, leveraged exposure to cryptocurrencies. Coming up this week in the US reporting season, we've got Netflix, and the second stock on our watch list today. It rallied by more than 3% in overnight trading, and will report after the close tonight. That is tomorrow morning, Australian East Coast time. We'll hear the quarterly report from Netflix. It's expected Netflix will report a 17% increase in revenues for the quarter. And that's an extraordinary number anywhere, but in a mature business like Netflix, that is a very impressive potential result. And if they do match that, we could see further support. Most of it's coming from ad revenues and what's perceived to be a greater quality content. And I'm told that K-pop Demon Hunters is the latest hot show off the racks, and one I'll need to catch up on. Lynas, the rare earth metal processor, up 6.6% yesterday, ahead of the announcement of this deal with the US. It's very likely to be a beneficiary of this deal. In fact, it's almost certain. But whether or not that will be reflected in the share price immediately or even anytime soon is an open question, because Lynas has been a top performer this year. Its share price has more than tripled from below $6.50 at the beginning of the year to be trading above $22. And it's clear that the strategic importance of rare earths has been recognised by the market. Whether or not it's been recognised sufficiently is a decision for each investor to make for themselves. But those strong gains and the focus on Australian stocks that this deal will bring could see further gains. Overall, the $8.5 billion both countries are going to invest should boost the sector. A number of analysts are cautious about the outlook for Lynas because of that very steep share price appreciation, with many going to hold rather than buy recommendations. But nonetheless, Lynas certain to be in focus after last night's announcement.